Gentlemen, I came here to ask you, when are you booking your trips to China?
Why would we go to China when we can go to Japan? It's way cheaper.
That is very true. But who knows if a Chinese yuan devaluation is on the horizon? That's the whispers. I am asking that because it seems everybody and their mothers is going over to China, whether it's Blinken, whether it's Secretary Janet Yellen, or just a few days ago, Elon Musk took I guess they're calling a surprise visit. I don't know what's an what would be an
And our
unsurprised
very own
visit
Kai.
from Elon Musk.
And our very own Kai went to China 2 weeks ago too.
But I don't understand what is your question here? I'm missing this.
What's going on with China? Why are all these people going to China?
Why are people going to China?
No, I'm laying down the premise. Let me work through this, my good friends. Don't worry, baby bird, I'll feed you. I'm sort of fascinated by this trip that Elon Musk just took specifically to China. He went over there and he spoke with effectively their vice president. He's called the premier, the number two in charge over there, and got a deal in place, an in principle deal for autonomous driving in China. The reason this is fascinating to me for maybe two or three reasons. The first is the knock on Elon in autonomous driving in America is that the idea that they could, robotaxi in particular, that they could get a new vehicle out and get approval to put them on the road in the United States within 2 years was maybe not the highest probability. And this was built into a very negative narrative in Tesla. So you give it a few weeks, Elon Musk goes over to China. He gets a in principle deal with China to allow autonomous vehicles in China instead of the US. And all of a sudden, you've got a completely different narrative in Tesla. I know you don't care about analyst ratings, but like Cantor Fitzgerald just initiated coverage at overweight with a $230 price target. All of a sudden, people love the damn stock, which is so funny how quickly the tide turns. But I'm curious what you think as an entrepreneur and an investor. Right now, China is a bit of a competitor at best, adversary at worst. And I wonder what you think from an entrepreneur standpoint and an opportunist standpoint, going over to China, doing business with a strong competitor, somebody that Janet Yellen and Blinken has said that they are effectively driving over capacity. They're building too many vehicles. They're effectively dumping on the marketplace. Europe has a problem with this as well. Elon obviously has to make money. He's got to find a way to sell these cars. What is your point of view as an entrepreneur and opportunist going and doing business with an adversary in the way that Elon Musk just did and was able to kind of change the short-term narrative of the stock?
Well, the first mistake that I think the way you said that, it's actually not correct. I don't consider them an adversary at all. And I think for the first time, China woke up and understands that in order, the EV business in China is a huge part of their future. And I think that what China realized when they kind of came to their senses with all this was a couple things. A, we need Tesla in order for our EV business to be successful because they were the innovators. We need their products and we need the general validation that they give us in order for our EV business to be successful. Because if our EV business in the US is successful, then China's EV business will be massively successful, and they have global reach just like we do. So they can ship their cars to anywhere in the world and they can be a dominant player, but they need Tesla's validation. And at first, everybody tried to run this thing alone. Elon was smart enough to know that doesn't make any sense. And we're in a different kind of global economy right now. So let's make this into a global play and we all benefit. And that's exactly what happened here. And so I think that, listen, we have a lot of incredibly stupid politicians in this country that believe that you have to, set up all these trade barriers and restrictions and that, trade is unfair and you have to tax it and all this kind of stuff. That is not the way you grow an economy. You grow an economy by you make deals and you validate each other's products. If you're Elon right now, just like you said, there's been a lot of bad press regarding EV vehicles. And there were a lot of people in this country that wanted to bury Tesla and bury EV. All of a sudden, when China starts to make an explosive part of their economy and Tesla bounces back, all of a sudden EV goes right back to the good part of the headlines, and the business is good globally. So this was actually a very smart move. I mean, the Chinese government has not made very many smart moves, in my opinion, with respect to how they've supported their businesses. And this was one of the smart ones. Basically, collaborating with Elon is exactly what they should have done. And Elon collaborating with them is what they should have done. And this validates both their businesses and it validates the global growth. So the answer to the question is, I think this is a smart move by everybody.
So to your point that I stated it wrong, just really quickly, the way I framed it was, at best, they're a competitor, and at worst, they're called an adversary. So, and I say this because there was actually just a poll that was released, Tom. As many as 42% of Americans see China as an enemy of the United States, which is up from just 25% 2 years ago. And for the 5th year in a row, 4 out of 5 Pew Research respondents viewed China unfavorably, while 43% held unfavorable opinions of the country.
It's much more about stupid politicians than it is about reality. The reality is that if you take the same poll to half of America, we'd go, oh, there's nothing wrong with Putin and there's nothing wrong with Russia. But yet China we have a problem with. It's so ridiculous. It's called, we tackle that through education and we tackle that through knowledge. Listen, I'm not a huge fan of China myself, but in order for the US economy to grow, we need to trade with China and we need to aggressively trade with China. The US, there's only so many places you can grow globally. And when you're the market leader in everything, you want to be everywhere. And that's essentially, where we are. So the idea that people, they don't want to trade with China because it's just, China does a really bad job at their own PR. But if you talk to Elon right now, you'd see, hey, this is how important this marketplace is.
All right, I'm going to end this segment with a little pop quiz. We're going to have a little fun at the end of this segment. You guys ready to do this?
Sure.
What's a Model 3 cost in the United States? US dollars.
Well, it keeps moving around all the time, but I'm going to say right now, I'm going to go 45,000.
Base model.
Base model?
Tony?
41,000.
Yeah, I was going to say 42 and a half base model.
I think you're close. I had around 39,000.
Okay.
Chat can check me if we're wrong. Check
okay,
me if I'm
that's
wrong,
fine.
but I had around 39,000. You guys were really close.
Mm-hmm.
In Singapore, they only sell one Tesla, one model of Tesla. It's a Model 3. What do you think it costs in Singapore?
100
in Sing dollars, by the way.
Sing dollars?
Base price.
Sing dollars or US dollars?
Sing dollars.
So Sing dollars are 75 cents a dollar, right?
Yes.
179,500.
Tony?
Because I know the taxes is three times.
He knows.
Yeah.
He's got like a Singaporean lady down there or something like that he takes care of because he's too good with these numbers. He's way too good with these numbers.
I'm sticking 100.
He knows how much apartments are.
I'm sticking 100.
Cars are. He knows how much shoes are. He's got a lot of things. Like, I had no idea. But
I'm a market maker, Vic. I'm saying 179,500 Sing dollars.
Got a Gumata over there.
What is it?
You're pretty close. It's right around 200 grand. It's right around 200 grand. But let's just to be clear.
But how much is a bottle of alcohol there? It's like $1,000, isn't it?
No,
it's not. It's not apples to apples. So here's what it is. In Singapore, you have to buy a COE to earn a vehicle. So that 200,000 is inclusive of the market price of a COE, a 10-year COE, which is the license to own a vehicle, and that is right around 95 grand. And the rest of that is the price of the vehicle. Now, they only sell the Model 3 because the steering wheels are on the other side in Singapore. And so the Model 3 is the only version of the car that Tesla has chosen to create the car with a steering wheel on the other side. Cybertruck, the Model S, the Model X, they have not. So it's the only one that's actually international, and in Singapore, nearly $200,000. That's your fun fact of the day, gentlemen.
Good job out of you, my friend. I like the pop quiz at the end. Pay attention.
Interesting. I knew cars in Singapore were like were like at least 3x. So I knew they were crazy expensive.
It's 6 million people in a tiny island. The COE is effectively a way to moderate how many people have vehicles so that it's not so congested. Another fun fact for you.
Are you allowed to live
All
in the
right,
car?
Oh, you cannot. Not in Singapore, you can't.
For that price, man, you
You
should
should be able to, right? Right. I mean, it would be my office, that's for sure.